McClay, what went into that, and how excited are you guys to have him again for the long term?
Well, first of all, we think Will's one of the best in the business in terms of, running, helping us, Jerry and I, work through our personnel. And, I think we've consistently, year in and year out, and, I think staffed with the best personnel in the league. And certainly Will has a huge part of that in terms of getting his staff, whether it be the college, the pro, how he goes about it. I think he works hand in hand with whoever the coach is. Obviously, he's worked with several coaches in his day, from the Jason Garrett's to the Mike McCarthy's, and now Schottenheimer. But one of the keys is to know, what it's all about. What kind of players are we looking for to be Dallas Cowboys? And that's so important to know. Hey, what should the play style be? What kind of traits are you looking for in those players? And I think he does an outstanding job of really, at the end of the day, really coming up, with a consensus of what we should have on our football team. And to get him back and have him signed up long term makes me smile.
He's got 15 Pro Bowlers under his belt in 11 years. What excites you most about his future?
Yeah, I think the best is yet to come. It's like fine wine or a good wine. It gets better with time, and I think Will's going to be the same way. I think his best is still in front of him, and he's got a great staff. He works great with Jerry and I. He works great with our coaching staff. He works great in the building as a whole. We all know how important culture is, and he's a big part of that. He works great with our executive team on the business side. He just checks every box you want to check, and he's outstanding. And like I said, I think I know he's got 15 Pro Bowlers, but I think his best is yet to come.
Locking in Eberflus and Sorensen, how big was that, and how excited are you for those guys?
Both those guys are outstanding coaches in this league. Obviously, Eberflus recognized, as one of the best defensive minds in the league, being the head guy at Chicago there for 3+ years. Did an outstanding job for the Bears, and for us to be able to bring him back around after working with Rod, and our building on the defensive side of things. I think Schotty thought it was a great fit, Coach Schottenheimer, and to be able to bring him back and his defensive expertise. I think if you look it up, you're going to see that his defenses are always at the tops in terms of where his defenses rank, whether it's total yards, whether it's points allowed, whether it's turnovers, all the things that are key to winning football games. He checks those boxes, and to be able to get him to be a partner with Coach Schottenheimer, I think is huge for the Dallas Cowboys and our future.
Was it important to find a former head coach?
I think that helps. Of course, Coach Schottenheimer being a first-time head coach, I think that's all the more important. And he's had his bumps, and he knows the pros and the cons, all the good that comes with it, and he also knows the challenges. And I think he'll be there for at the end of the day for Coach Schottenheimer, and I think he'll do a great job for him. Obviously, Coach Schottenheimer's going to have his hands full with the offense and being a head coach, but I think he's going to be able to sleep well knowing Coach Eberflus is going to be over there, and then Nick Sorensen. He's versatile. We always say you like to pick guys in the draft that are versatile, an offensive lineman that not only can be your starting guard, but he can swing out to tackle, he can swing to center. That's what Coach Sorensen is. He's been a great special teams coach, but he's also been a great defensive coordinator in this league. He's a coacher of men, and that's the type of people you look for, guys who can lead men, get their play style to where we need to have it to win championships. He's done that. He's proven. He's played in this league. He'll have much respect in our locker room, and I think he'll bring a lot to the table in terms of what he can bring to the Dallas Cowboys.
How did Eberflus detail his vision for the defense, and did you guys kind of think about it to be your third defensive coordinator?
Yeah, I just think at the end of the day, Matt sees a defense that's going to play with a lot of energy. People, can be a tough word, but in our game, that's what it's all about: is play with violence and and do what we need to do on the defensive side of the ball to win football games. And he sees a vision, for our great players, whether it's a Micah, whether it's a Trayvon Diggs, whether it's Deron Bland, whether it's Mozzie. He sees all the upside there and how that's going to fit into what he, at the end of the day, what he does. I know there's always going to be, it's not a perfect world when you're changing out your coordinator, for the third time. But at the end of the day, they all, they run the 4-3, but everybody's multiple these days. And, I know Matt will do a great job of figuring out the best way to communicate with our defenders so they have the chance to play fast, play violent, play with aggression, and make plays.
Close to an OC?
Yeah, we're working on that as we speak. Certainly, we all know who the master mind is of our offense is going to be. We've made that real clear. It's Coach Schottenheimer. But he's certainly going to find an OC that certainly complements what he does. And we've certainly had some good interviews there, and at some point we'll get that taken care of as well.
Are there certain elements of an offensive coordinator that you want to check the boxes with, to pair with Schottenheimer like you talked about?
I think most of these guys always want, to check the run game box. Most of these guys are very, if you will, fluent when it comes to throwing the ball around the yard. But, you always want a great offensive line coach, a great running game coordinator. And, of course, the key this day and time is to marry that run game to the pass game. Coach Schottenheimer's all over that. He wants to find a guy who's going to be able to marry his philosophies to the run game. We want to be able to run the ball. Everybody says it. We want to run the ball and we want to stop the run. And certainly that's what we want to do. That's what great championship football teams do. And I know Coach Schottenheimer wants to do that. And so I think it's real important that we find, in this hire, a coach that's going to be outstanding, in the run game area.
Any other position coaches that are locked in at this point?
Not that we can comment on now. I mean, we're obviously I don't think Coach Schottenheimer's been to sleep since he's taken the job, but we're all involved in the process, and we want to have great coaches to coach these men. I mean, you want to have guys who lead men, and so these hires are very important. It'll be a great compliment to what Coach Schottenheimer brings to the table, and we think he's going to have a great staff.
I know you haven't rounded out the staff entirely yet, but where do you feel like the alignment is right now between you guys in the front office, Brian's coaching staff, and now Will's personnel team?
I think we're fully aligned. I mean, you have to be. I mean, that's key to me to winning championships. I mean, Will has to have the same vision that Coach Schottenheimer has, and the front office has to have that same vision that, hey, here's what we want in a Dallas Cowboy football player. Here's how we're going to go out and win football games. Here's how we're going to do it together, and you move forward. Obviously, we hadn't gotten it right in quite some time because at the end of the day, our goal's what our fans want, which is we want to win playoff games, we want to win championships, we want to win Super Bowls.
Kind of along the same lines, there was a lot of talk about family and continuity in the press conference with Brian the other day, and getting a guy that Eberflus to come back. How much does that help that alignment of knowing how he is as a person coming in?
I mean, we call it both things. We want continuity, but we also want change. And obviously what we've done, hadn't gotten the job done. We accept that. We accept that our fans can have frustration, that we hadn't gotten that job done. And you can't keep doing the same thing over and over again and expect something to change. So we need to change, but at the same time, we've got a lot of things right. And so there's a lot of continuity we want to keep as well. So the combination of continuity but also change is why Coach Schottenheimer's our coach.
Stephen, you mentioned marrying the run game with the pass game. Where would you say you prioritize that specific position just in this offseason in general?
I think all these things are priorities. I mean, everybody says, well, they say everything's a priority. Well, it is. I mean, we have a lot of things to get done. And, we have a job to do. We haven't gotten the job done, and we understand that. I mean, we hadn't had success in the playoffs. We hadn't won a Super Bowl in years, and we have to change that. And the only way you're going to change that is prioritize the things that, in our mind, will change the narrative. And, until we do that, we know there'll be question marks. We know we'll be questioned. Jerry and I will be questioned. Coach Schottenheimer will be questioned until he does it, and so we will.
Have you guys had any recent conversations with Zach Martin?
No.
And not only free agency, but a lot of guys heading into a contract year. Talked about Micah before. DeRon Bland, I think we've spoken of. Mm-hmm. I know you guys think highly of DeRon Bland. Is that a guy that y'all would be willing to talk to this offseason?
All these guys are things that obviously, we had to get this coaching situation sorted. And it was our number one priority because it had to happen ASAP. And then you gather the team together, and then you start to prioritize, the likes of Micah Parsons or DeRon Bland or whoever else that may be. And we'll take a look at everything because we've got to change the narrative, and we understand that.
You mentioned culture, and Schotty mentioned it in the intro presser too. When you see so many players like Dak and the likes at the introductory press conference, I know it meant a lot to Brian. What did it mean to you to see his players come out of full support? Did it make you feel even more stronger about the right decision?
Yeah, the same thing. I mean, you want everybody in the organization rowing in the same direction, and to see whether it's players, whether it's coaches, whether it's ownership, whether it's personnel, or whether it's just overall executives in the building, people in the building. You want everybody to, be supportive of what the goal is, and the goal is ultimately to win a championship. We want to go get a Lombardi Trophy. I can tell you, nothing's more important to Jerry than to win a Super Bowl. Hey, getting in the Hall of Fame was great, but I can tell you the biggest prize for him, for us, for the organization is to win a Super Bowl.
You talked about the frustration from the fans a little bit and kind of that narrative that you want to change. Does that ever wear on you as a person?
No, no. At the end of the day, it motivates me, and it's not easy to win a championship. There's only 1 out of 32 every year, and we understand that. But we've got to be that one, and until we change that narrative, it's going to be there, and it'll be heavy, it'll be motivational, and it'll put energy in me. It's going to put energy in Coach Schottenheimer. I know it puts energy in Jerry Jones, and certainly puts energy in Will and the organization as a whole. We want this for our fans. Our fans are the best, number one, the best, and they deserve that.
How do you guys constantly come to the Senior Bowl? You've been here.
It's all part of the process. It's part of the mechanics of what energizes you. I mean, there's going to be guys who are out on this field who can make a difference on whether we win a championship or not. And you're seeing, how they roll in a practice. I'm getting to hear, these guys have been around them all year, going in and out of colleges and, spending the time and energy to get to know these men. And certainly it's great for me to get to hear, their stories. As you look at guys and you say, hey, that's why we have this guy up here and we have this guy a little further down and this guy a little further down. It's great for, people like myself, people like Will. I mean, Will's obviously in the middle of it, but it's great to be in here and talk about football players, because at the end of the day, we've got to have great leadership. They've got to be taught well. They've got to be coached well. They've got to be led well. And I'm convinced we've got the right men to do it, and Coach Schottenheimer and his staff. We're in the middle of putting together the rest of the staff, but we've got a big head start on this, and that's what's important. Thanks, guys.
Appreciate it.